Man. Gotta speak to y'all about the Michael Jackson movie. Yeah, this is my review on Joe Jackson in the Michael Jackson movie that just came out, man. Make sure y'all smash that like button, man. Subscribe to the platform. But let's get straight to it, bro. They played my boy Joe Jackson, man. They did him dirty, fam. Rest in peace, OG. Rest up because they did you dirty in this movie. Now, Michael Jackson is no longer with us. Rest in peace to Tito. Of course, Joe Jackson passed away, a while back, died after Michael Jackson. But in this new movie that came out, they portrayed Joe Jackson like he was just the worst person in the world. Like he was just the evil villain. Like he was the reason that, anything that went wrong for Michael Jackson in his life, Joe Jackson, his black father, the father of what, like 9, 10 children, they make it seem like this black man, this hardworking brother, was just the evil villain in the movie. And that's how they do black men in America every day. Now, shout out to the actor that played Joe Jackson. The look was down packed. Shout out to the movie, man. It was a few things I would have changed in it or whatever, or things I want to see, or music we all want to hear, man. We didn't hear no Dirty Diana. We didn't hear no Do You Remember the Time? We didn't hear The Way You Make Me Feel. It was a lot of records. Like, Mike is the biggest artist of all time. So it was a lot of records that wasn't played in the movie, a lot of scenes and things they didn't get to. They kept a lot of negative things out the movie, about Mike past and some of the accusations that was on him, but they made sure they threw Joe Jackson ass right in the flames. I mean, didn't spare this brother not one time in the movie. I mean, from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, he was the villain in the movie. Now, the crazy part about it is that Joe Jackson is a black man in Gary, Indiana. They was working at a steel mill. They had 10, 11 children, 6, 7 boys. Most black men back in the days weren't even around to raise their children. A lot of black women had to do it by themselves. That's why the government created welfare and all these different kind of things to make sure they could keep the black men out the house, but not Joe Jackson. No, not this brother. Shout out to Gary, Indiana. Not this brother right here, man. Joe Jackson was a go-getter. Joe Jackson is the father that all these wannabe gangsters out here these days, all these young YNs, we complain about it. Where is the OGs and where is the fathers? They right there. That's what these boys need. These boys need somebody gonna wake them up every day and let them know you're gonna be somebody. You're not gonna be like me. You gonna make something of yourself. Whether I gotta whoop a little ass every now and then or not, I'm gonna make sure that you don't be like me. You're not gonna end up in no gangs. You're not gonna end up out here with a bunch of kids you're not taking care of. I'm gonna raise you to be a hardworking man and get a legal dollar. And overall, that's who Joe Jackson was. In the movie, they portrayed him to be this guy that was, just abusing Michael Jackson for no reason at all. I seen a scene where Michael Jackson, they came back from doing a gig late night, because Joe always took them around to different gigs and, was trying to get them to perform at different places so they could be seen, so they could be heard, so they can get a record deal, so they can get, so they can make money. So they could, I think the kids like the music, might not have wanted to, do so much work and practice so much, but I think overall they like music. They love music. They had music in their blood, in their family. It was a scene where Joe made them, practice right after they came back home from a gig late night. And of course, Michael Jackson's mama, sweet lady, she was telling him, no, Joe, let them kids go to bed, Joe. They got school in the morning. Joe said, no, go get the instruments. I don't think y'all did good tonight. Y'all did all right, but we can do better. We can always do better. Michael Jackson look at his father and say, no, man, I think we did good. You know what I mean? Nah, I think we did. I don't care. I don't know what you're talking about, basically. We did good. And Joe pulled that belt off and said, boy, come here. Don't be what you talking about, man. Do what I told you to do. And how many black households did that not happen? If you dare told your parents what you was finna do or not do, or how you felt about what they were saying about what you need to do, man, they didn't play that. Growing up in your household, you got whoopings for less. Let your mama put something in the freezer for her, some ice cream or something, one of her snacks. She done bought y'all yours. She got her things put up and you go eat hers up. You get a whooping for that. Let y'all be downstairs making noise at night, whether you got something to do with the wrestling and the horse playing or not. She coming there swinging that belt. They come there swinging that belt on whoever. You got whoopings for less in life. But now it's black people. We act like we don't remember none of this. We don't remember getting whoopings. Most of y'all ain't got whoopings with switches. Most of y'all parents, grandparents, grandpa, mama, daddy, made y'all go outside and pick a stick off a tree and beat you with a stick. But I don't hear nobody saying, oh, they were so abusive. They beat on me. As black kids growing up in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s, we all got whoopings. We know black folks are stressed out, working their ass off. America won't cut them a break. We know black people got some frustration sometimes. And when you come home and them kids ain't doing right, they ain't laid that hamburger meat out, that family pack of chicken you told them to lay that frozen meat out. Man, you been got whooping for that. Let your mama come home and you ain't done cleaned up the house. Man, y'all been got beat down for that. So let's stop playing like as black people, like we don't know nothing about getting no whoopings all the time. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And Joe Jackson didn't play with his kids. If he felt like they wasn't working hard enough, if he felt like they wasn't doing what he wanted them to do, every now and then you might get a whooping. You know what I mean? That's how it was in every black household. But that's no reason to tear this black father down. Now, like I said, in the movie, they turned him into a complete villain. I mean, they even got him looking. That's how he really looked. I ain't gonna lie. Joe Jackson had a villain look to him in reality. He looked like a mean dad. He looked like the type of dad you don't want to play with. And it's crazy because now that's all we looking for. We begging for them kind of fathers to come back. The ones that actually care about their kids. The ones that ain't going to leave their families. The ones that going to get them to go to work every day and get off work and still have time to spend time with the kids and help them with whatever they got going on, or, you know what I mean, to put their time into them. Now we begging for these kind of fathers to come back. Look at all these young black men out here, what they doing. All the violence, now we begging for the Joe Jacksons to come back. But when the movie come out, of course, everybody going at Joe Jackson. Now I want to show a clip of Joe Jackson in real time, because like I said, the black father, man, we get no love, no credit, nothing. All you gotta do is as a black man is raise your voice, and everybody claim, his kids are scared of him, this, that, and the other. Man, let's check out what Joe Jackson said in real life about being a father and how he raised his children, man. R.I.P. to Joe Jackson.
Large family?
No, I just wanted a small family. In those days, some of the guys in those days, they had one baby, and then they would run off. I couldn't do that. If you have them, you work for them, bring them up the right way, stay with the family, and be a father to the family. I was a father. I think I was a good father. I raised them and I fed them and kept putting clothes on them. We didn't have much, but what we had, we was happy with it, yes. Back then, it was real hard, but I had to do it, because, they had to eat.
I know you were a boxer, right?
Yes.
You used to box. And you had any other jobs back then to provide for everybody?
I knew I needed another job, so I took up a trade. It was a welding trade, a local trade stuff. I took that trade up and finished that trade.
Hard-working black man.
Got another job as an art welder. I used to do that too, so that made me have two jobs to deal with. I worked two jobs almost 10 years. In raising those kids, I raised them close. They was able to entertain each other, and I thought that was good. They didn't have to go out there in the streets. They wasn't locked up like some of the other people or robbing people. They never did none of that stuff. When you have a bunch of kids there, your own kids, and you think of things that you need to make them, help them survive, and so.
Look, rest in peace to Joe Jackson, man. You did. Rest in peace to Joe Jackson, man. And like I said, in the movie, I don't like the way he was portrayed in the movie. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. In this movie, I just didn't like it, man. I just felt like, you know what, this is the rap to give all black dads, man. And like I said, a black man can't do nothing right in the eyes of the people, man. Salute to Joe Jackson for giving us Michael Jackson. Without Joe Jackson, I don't mean just the fact that he was the man's father. I mean a father that put time into his kids. We would have never gotten Billie Jean, Thriller, Bad, Beat It, all these dope records, Thriller. We would have never got none of that if it wasn't for Joe Jackson making sure Michael Jackson and his brothers was the sharpest when it came to them routines and singing and hitting notes and performing. We see athletes do this all the time. There's nothing wrong with a father making his son get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go shoot 10,000 jump shots. There's nothing wrong. Yeah. We watch stuff like that happen all the time. Football dads who got their sons practicing and lifting weights in the weight room all day, staying on them tough, making sure they get out the hood or wherever they at to go be somebody. I'm going to get you a scholarship. We see dads do this all the time. You did. But when it comes to Michael Jackson and his story, he didn't get a chance to be a kid. Joe just said, hold on, fam, I gave you 5, 6, 7 brothers. What you mean he didn't know what it was like to be a kid? Look, as a black man who don't know his father, I'm offended by this. I ain't gonna lie, I'm offended by it. As the black man that didn't get a chance to have a dad or have a relationship with my father, when I see what Joe Jackson did for his kids, I'm like, man, y'all tripping because this man was giving out a few extra ass whoopings every now and then. Y'all tripping on that. That man had a lot of kids. That man had to make sure he stayed on them boys to make sure they became somebody. And what do you know? The only black man in the history of black fathers to have two of the most famous kids in the world when it comes to Michael Jackson, the biggest entertainer, the most popular man in the history of the world, and Janet Jackson, probably the best female R&B artist of all time. I'm going to line her up with Beyonce. I'm going to line her up with B. But you get what I'm saying, man. Ain't no black father in the history of this world ever had two kids at that height. It is like, come on, man. That's crazy, man. That is to treat Joe Jackson like that. Like I said, rest in peace to Joe Jackson. Hard-working black man. Hard-working man. Had all them children, never left his family. Didn't become an alcoholic. Wasn't running the streets at night. He would get off work from working 2 jobs and still get his sons, load up all the instruments into the van, and go on the road and take his kids to perform gigs and do what they love. That was music. Taught them how to dance and sing. When I watched Motown 25 and I seen Michael Jackson on stage with his brothers and they walked off stage and, he was getting ready to perform Billie Jean. When you watch how he cranked that Billie Jean up, you be like, man, this man was immaculate on stage. Like, look at his stage presence. Look at his performance. Like, man, that brother had it down pat. It started with Joe Jackson, making these boys perform every day, hitting them notes right. Being able to sing on key. Joe Jackson is the reason that Michael Jackson was so great. It was because of Joe Jackson staying on him. Every young black man need a black man in their life that won't take no for an answer. You gonna get it done. Don't make me snatch you up, fam. You gonna get this done. We need more of that now. We need that now. It's crazy. We dissing Joe Jackson in this movie, but in reality, in the black community, we need more Joe Jacksons today. We need more Joe Jacksons. My mama is the biggest, a Michael Jackson fan in the world, one of them at least. And she done read his books. And my mama told me that, when Michael and them spoke about Joe, they never said he stole no money from him. They never said that, he was taking our money and doing us wrong and this and that. No, Joe was giving them kids their money. Even when they got older and they was the Jackson 5 going on tours and stuff, Joe made sure they got their money. Joe wanted his boys to stay together. He didn't want Michael just to go solo and leave the family and leave everybody behind because you got brothers that came up with you. Of course, he's going to try to keep them together as long as he can. Of course, we know you blowing up with Off the Wall and Thriller, and you got a solo life now, and you can still perform your songs, but make sure your bros eat too, fam. Bring your brothers with you. And everybody think that's so bad. That's just so, it's bad that Joe cared about all his kids. It's bad that he made sure Janet Jackson was on Good Times and she could sing, and he wanted all the kids to be involved with something. That's what y'all call a bad dad. That's what y'all call a bad father, is because he wanted to keep his kids together. Notice what happened to Michael Jackson when he left. Remember, Michael Jackson lived with Joe Jackson in their house. The whole family did for years until I think Michael Jackson might have moved out when he was like 30-something years old. Michael Jackson threw out Thriller, Off the Wall. He lived with Joe Jackson, his parents, the whole entire time. The minute he went and got Neverland Ranch and started talking about Peter Pan, you look what happened to him. Everybody came with accusations, a bunch of people around him, a lot of white folks around him now. All these white kids coming out, Mike did something to me. If he was around his family and Joe Jackson, I bet that would never happen. I bet Joe wouldn't let them white kids spend the night at the house over there. Nah, y'all ain't finna allow my son. Y'all ain't finna remember. A lot of y'all feel like Michael Jackson is innocent. These people did him wrong. Look how everybody did Mike. Look how that doctor did him. Joe Jackson said at one point in time, he couldn't even get to Mike no more. He said around the time where Mike was losing his health was bad, and we all knew Michael Jackson was hooked on painkillers and other drugs. Joe Jackson said he couldn't even get to Michael Jackson no more. You had to set an appointment to go talk to Michael Jackson. You get to the gates of the Neverland Ranch and you can't get in. Nobody in the family could ever talk to Mike. It's because Mike had the wrong people around him. Mike had a bunch of yes men, a bunch of people that want to keep his family away so they could have their way with Michael Jackson. And the Michael Jackson's downfall was not being around his family no more. And I know every man move off and go have their own life and his own career. I get that. But you see what happened to Mike. Mike was vulnerable, and look what everybody did to Michael Jackson. Y'all talk about how Joe did him. No, talk about them people who was around him, how whoever was letting that doctor come in there and fill him up with them drugs. Blame them folks, man. That's why Mike is no longer here. Not because of Joe Jackson. We only know Mike because of Joe. But this the man who in the movie they went off on. I'm standing up for black dads, man. To all my black fathers around the world, man, stay on your sons, man. If you gotta snatch them up and give them a whooping every now and then for them to do right and to wake up and make some of themselves and not be lazy and not be gang banging and doing drugs and having all kind of kids and living just whatever, do it, fam. Do whatever you gotta do to protect your sons and to make sure they be something, man. Because that's what Joe Jackson did, man. So I salute Joe Jackson. Rest in peace, OG. My bad. Triple OG. Rest in peace, Triple OG. But they played you, Joe. Yeah, they played you, brother. That movie came out and they tried to play you, Joe. All they want to do is focus on the negative thing about the black male. He was giving them kids whoopings. He was beating on them. He was abusing them. He was what? We ain't seen that one whooping. We didn't hear about CPS being called. We didn't hear about the school ever calling saying the kids was beat down and bruised up. We ain't heard about none of that. Just like with Michael Jackson, we ain't seen Mike do nothing to a kid. So when they say he did it, y'all say, nah, that ain't true at all. With Joe Jackson, what abuse did we ever see? We heard about getting whoopings. We all got whoopings. Like I said, my mama gave me a bunch of whoopings. Mama might come there swinging with the damn buckle of the belt. She don't know. She coming there just going, you know what I mean? We acting a damn fool. Me and my brother down there acting up. He had 5, 6, 7 sons. Yeah, he was whooping some ass every now and then. Of course he was. Shout out to all the black fathers. Don't let them beat us down and tell us we this, we that, we ignorant, we mad black men. Nah, bro, be a dad, be strong. This country will lock these young black men up. These countries will, not these countries, but they'll get out here and take each other's lives. Irresponsible, living any kind of way out here selling drugs. You know what I mean? In gangs, don't let your kids go out like that if you love your kids. So if you ask me, Joe Jackson proved that he loves his children, man. So rest in peace to Joe Jackson. Not saying he was a perfect father. Not saying he was right in business all the time. Yeah, not saying Joe Jackson was perfect by far. But guess what? As the father, neither was I. You hear me? As a father, neither was I. So like I said, rest in peace to Joe Jackson. I'm giving this brother his flowers for making sure your sons and your kids didn't go one night hungry, had clothes on their back, a roof over their head, and became somebody in life, fam. Y'all don't keep falling for this, man. Every black man, they try to do Mike. Then they put the accusations on Mike to say he was doing what he was doing to little kids. You see how it go? They destroyed Joe Jackson's name, and before Mike was gone, they destroyed his too, because that's how they do the black man. Don't fall for it. Rest in peace to Joe Jackson. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel, man. Hit the like button and jump in the comments and tell me how y'all felt. Did you see the Michael Jackson movie? If you haven't, go see it. Tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about the history of Joe Jackson, the things that people say about Joe Jackson? I don't care what your opinion is. However you feel, jump in my comments and let me know. It's Big Scope Gang or No Gang or Don't Bang. Remember, we don't break the news. We just break the news down, man. Till next time, I'm gone. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that. Make sure y'all check me out on YouTube Live every night, doing a live stream about 9 o'clock. Check in with me, gang. We break down topics like this every night, man. I'm gone.